Pacific West Mortgage Fund's podcast is brought to you by the Granger Company, a full-service commercial real estate company specializing in the leasing, management, sales, and purchase of property in the Los Angeles County area. Our host today, Bill Fox, Breakwall Financial, correspondent lender for Pacific West Mortgage Fund, and myself, Mark Granger. So our focus today, Bill, is AB 2424. Unanimously passed at the Senate and Assembly level, so it's popular in Sacramento. Popular, yep. It talks about, it addresses foreclosure, gives some protections to borrowers on 1 to 4 units. I know you've read through this legislation a little bit.
Right.
What do you think, Bill?
Well, again, for owners of 1 to 4 units, it gives them additional time during the foreclosure process. And, for those who aren't familiar with the foreclosure process, Mark, would you be able to explain how it works currently and how the new legislation has changed?
So that's the crux of the talk today, Bill, which is this new legislation. So, January of 2025, the foreclosure process started. Of course, the borrower would have to be in default, having not made payments or some other problem with the property. And now you've decided as a lender that you're going to start the foreclosure process, and that starts with a notice of default, which is a 90-day period. And then followed by a notice of sale, which is a 21-day period. And at the end of that 21 days, then the property is sold at a public auction. And if it's sold to a third party, then the lender is paid off. If not, then the loan lender ends up owning the property. Right. Okay, so now with AB 2424, as you may be familiar, there is now some delays to that process, provided that the borrower notifies the lender that they intend to sell the property. They have 45 days to go out and shop it. And then after that, if they get an offer and they notify the lender, they have another 45 days to try and process that offer. So if you're following along with me, the notice of default just turned into a 6-month period versus the 90 days.
6-month wheel, boy, it really extends it. Does this new law treat business purpose and consumer loans differently?
So that's a common assumption by commercial lenders in our space, for sure, Bill, because we do mostly exclusively business purpose commercial loans. So a lot of commercial lenders have just been basically out of the loop with a lot of this legislation, and this changes that. So if you're loaning on fix and flips, single families, anything on a 1 to 4 business purpose or consumer, this law affects you. So if you start a foreclosure on somebody that's, bought a 3-unit building and is refurbishing it and just run out of gas, and you're foreclosing on them, and they notify you that they're going to sell this property or they're going to market it, you got to give them these extra time periods.
So there's some responsibilities for the lender now as well, right? How are they required, or what are they required to do now that this legislation is passed?
So this law creates a number of obligations for the lender. So the first is that right off the bat, you have to supply to the borrower upon their request to whoever third party they designate a full set of the loan documents. So that could be an attorney, that could be their Aunt Hilda, it could be Cousin Fred, who's the expert on foreclosures, et cetera, et cetera. You've got to deliver all those documents to them. So the other thing is you've got to do and give to the borrower your underwriting valuation for the property. That could be a broker price opinion, appraisal, any internal market evaluation that you're establishing. The way I'm reading this, Bill, and of course I'm not an attorney, but the way I'm reading this is you've got to give it to them the day that you make the loan. I think that you're well advised as to, if you're underwriting the valuation internally, that you need to give that to them then.
To it.
Yeah, so the last thing I want to mention, Bill, is this also requires a lot of new guidelines for bridge financing. As you know, we don't do a lot of bridge financing at Pacific West, but if you are doing bridge financing, this really tightens down the requirements for what you can do with that exemption.
Well, there's an awful lot to it, so to recap the major points, what would you say?
Well, I think, Bill, the thing to make sure of is that you are in good communication with your borrower. And make sure you understand what they're doing to try and work out of this foreclosure. I think the lending business, private money, hard money, if you will, is sort of viewed by regulators as a predatory business, and I think that's rather an unfair assessment. I think we're doing our best. We're supplying financing to customers that literally they just can't get it anywhere else, and they're coming to us. And I think that I know here at Pacific West we really bend over backwards to work with people if they're in a difficult situation. This law is really designed to protect that borrower. Brokers, be sure to check our website, pacificwestfund.com. Talk to Bill, get enrolled in our broker programs, and let's work together to get your client funded. Also, we will be covering environmental reports and changes to the business purpose and consumer loan laws in the next few podcasts. So be sure to tune in for those. A lot of good information.